I have to come with it all. I have to do more. Obviously, just to secure the win is doing just enough to get a draw. So I have to push harder. I have to train harder. I have to be more mean. I have to be more physical. I have to do a lot. I have to do everything just a little more. And I think that will definitely.
Tank Davis and Lamont Roach are ready for a rematch, and this fight is expected to be much more intense than the first one. Their first match ended with some controversy, which has made the rivalry between them even stronger. Now, both fighters want to prove themselves clearly in the ring. The rematch is planned for June 21st in Las Vegas. From the way both sides are talking, it looks like they don't want the fight to go to the judges. Tank has already told Roach that he won't even make it to the final rounds, but Roach is confident too. He says he's going to beat Tank again.
In that rematch, I think that's really big, man. If we do get that rematch on June the 21st, I believe that'll be big news, big news, big news, big news. I believe that'll be big, man. So if we can get that fight, man.
Roach hasn't hidden his frustration, especially with referee Willis. In Roach's opinion, the referee made several mistakes that affected the result of the fight. He believes Willis gave Davis extra time to recover after he took a knee and ignored what Roach says were illegal actions happening in Davis's corner. Because of this, Roach feels he was unfairly stopped from winning the fight.
Cares, like, sweat gonna get in your eye, blood gonna get in your eye, spit fuck around and get in your eye. You know what I'm saying? But it's not like you can be like, all right, time out, ref. Hold on, ref. You can't do that.
Right. Would you be cool with Steve Willis doing the next fight?
Hell no.
He can't do the next fight.
No, he can't do the next fight.
Roach strongly expressed his anger, saying, hell no, he can't do the next fight. He continued, it is what it is. Just look at how many times he messed up the fight. The knee going to the corner for help. While Roach didn't directly accuse Davis of cheating, he made it clear that Davis got unfair advantages.
Roach, Tank, first of all, Tank, Tank is just bigger than Haney and Ryan both. And recency bias, that just happened. Haney was last year. This just happened. More people, like Haney didn't get a song. Well, he did get a song. But that's what I'm saying. His song is dead or dying out. Tank's is popping. Like, it's Tank's time right now. Tank is in our mom.
Because of poor officiating. Roach added, you can't do any of that. That should be a disqualification. Or Roach and his team even filed a petition to the New York State Athletic Commission, NYSAC, hoping to get the fight decision changed. However, their request was quickly denied. With no other option left, Roach focused on getting an immediate rematch. Now that fight is almost confirmed. I'ma tell you right now, I'm signed and sealed, Roach said, making it clear that all that's left is for Davis to sign as well.
That was on me too. That was on me for sure. Cause I ain't pick it up when I supposed to pick it up. And I could have definitely did more. He caught me with a good shot, but it was times that I sat in there with him and I'm like, damn, this guy like super slow. Well, not super slow, but he's...
On the other side, Davis has stayed mostly quiet. Unlike Roach, he hasn't made any loud complaints or blamed anyone in the media. Instead, he's gone straight into training, blocking out all distractions and focusing with a new level of intensity. People in his camp say that Davis has taken the criticism seriously and is using it as motivation. He knows what people are saying, said his trainer, Calvin Ford. That's why he's not messing around this time. No distractions, no outside noise. He's coming to make a statement. Davis himself recently spoke out, saying he has no plans to let the fight go to the judges. I ain't letting this one go to the judges, he said. This time, I'm closing the show.
He's power for sure. I ain't gonna say it's exaggerated. I told you I got a chin. I ain't going like that. It's just not gonna happen. But like I said, I see why he knocked people out, and I think he felt my power too. Like, I think that's what negated a lot of his shots. And
The WBA has already announced that the rematch will be mandatory, which means Davis must accept the fight or risk losing his title. But even if the belt wasn't on the line, Tank has made it clear he's ready to fight. He's not focused on technicalities. He wants to prove himself with no questions left. In his eyes, Roach was lucky the first fight even made it to the final bell. This time, Tank plans to finish the job. Roach, on the other hand, believes he knows how to win. He saw weaknesses in Davis's style, took advantage of them early, and forced the champion to make adjustments during the fight.
Very close. It's in my mind, it's a done deal, but there are formalities, but it's a done deal, and it's not far off. I can't give you more than that right now, but what I can tell you is that it's going to be an interesting fight. I think you've got dynamics. You've got Gervonta, who's probably going to be angry, probably woken up, probably more focused than he has been, not talking about retirement. That's a factor.
His movement, counterpunching, and discipline made the first fight competitive, and he believes he did enough to win. However, Davis's power was still a big factor, and Roach knows it's not easy to avoid that for 12 full rounds. Negotiations for the rematch have moved quickly, with both sides eager to fight again. Roach's promoter, Gary Jonas, said they're just waiting for the final paperwork to be completed. The fight is almost confirmed, with Las Vegas as the venue. With the controversy from the first fight still fresh, the rematch is expected to be an even bigger and more exciting event.
The head of the class. And what you and Cannon have taught me about weight classes they are important. They are in place for a reason. So don't just sit here and just act like he was just like that. Now, he came out there and fought an amazing fight. He had an amazing game plan. And
Is feeling confident but staying cautious. He's not underestimating Davis, but he still believes he can outbox him. In Roach's view, the biggest problem in the first fight wasn't Davis. It was the officiating. That's why he's now pushing for a neutral referee and a fair fight. Confident that under those conditions, he'll prove he's the better fighter. Davis, on the other hand, sees it completely differently. He thinks Roach was just trying to survive, not actually win. Davis says he was never really in trouble and that Roach spent more time avoiding than fighting. That's why this time, Davis is coming in with a much more aggressive plan. He's going for a knockout, and he's not hiding it.
It was not so cocky to be on a Terrence Crawford undercard. That would be dope. But I don't see Tank taking a backseat to no fighter because he'll think it's the Tank show. So, I don't know, but it should be.
This ain't going 12, Davis said. I'm ending this early. Watch me. But in the midst of all this, Terrence Crawford has added more heat to the situation. Crawford has been throwing jabs at Tank, not in the ring, but through the media. He's repeatedly said that Roach was robbed and that Tank should have lost the first fight. This time, Crawford took a shot that's likely to hurt even more. He wants Tank to fight Shakur Stevenson on the undercard of his September 13th fight against Canelo Alvarez. Just like that, Crawford is making headlines again. But the real question is this about boxing, or is Crawford just taking another shot at Tank?
Is that ever a possible fight?
Yeah, if you want to dare to be great, he can be like all the other fighters that moving up 2 weight classes and, daring to be great.
You would fight him.
Man, tell him to come up there.
He got to come to win 54.
He said I got a glass chin. So tell him to come and touch him.
10 Crawford knows exactly what he's doing by suggesting Tank should be on his undercard. He's trying to push the idea that Davis isn't the real face of boxing, making it look like Tank needs to fight under him for exposure. But, let's be honest, who really needs who here? If anything, it's Crawford who could use Tank to boost his own fight. Tank doesn't need to fight on anyone's undercard. His fights sell themselves. On the other hand, Crawford's pay-per-view history isn't exactly impressive. Aside from his fight with Errol Spence, most of his PPV bouts have underperformed. Even against Canelo, there's a real chance the fight won't be the massive event Crawford is hoping for.
Wait, there ain't no catch weight. You come up to 47.
Not even entertaining the catch weight.
No, I'm not.
He's a champ though too, undefeated.
And, what champ? Come on, man, tell me what belt. You know boxing. You forgot Devin Haney is undisputed. Devin Haney got all the belts. He the champ. Nobody else to champ. I'm gonna come up
11, but Crawford isn't just taking shots at Tank's status. He's also questioning his pride. He said, if Tank wasn't so cocky to be on a Terrence Crawford undercard, that would be dope. In other words, he's implying that Tank's ego is stopping him from making a smart business move. But would Crawford ever fight on Tank's undercard? Of course not. That's why this whole situation feels more like a diss than a genuine suggestion. Crawford is testing Tank, trying to get a reaction out of him. And let's be honest, he probably will. The tension between these two has been building for a while. Crawford has taken plenty of indirect shots at Tank before, even calling Shakur Stevenson and GervontaDavis the best lightweights in boxing, while completely ignoring Tank's achievements. Interview 12.
Boxing you would like to see next?
I would like to see Shakur versus Devin or Shakur versus Tank. Those are the two big fights that I would like to see next.
Tank Davis, Shakur Stevenson. Who wins that fight right now?
Shakur.
Crawford has acted like Tank isn't even in the conversation. But let's not forget, this is the same Gervonta Tank Davis who has knocked out 28 of his 31 opponents. This is the same Tank who has sold out arenas and broken pay-per-view records. The same Tank who made Ryan Garcia quit with a body shot. Yet according to Crawford, LamontRoach is the only one of Tank's 31 opponents to come close to beating him. The truth is, like many others, Crawford knows Roach actually did defeat Tank, and that's where his conclusion about the rematch comes from. He believes Tank is going to get a beating from Roach in the rematch. But why is Crawford acting like Tank needs to prove something? Maybe, deep down, he knows Tank is a bigger star than he is. That has to sting for someone who considers himself one of the best pound-for-pound fighters in the world. Crawford might be undefeated, but he hasn't built the same kind of global fan base Tank has. Now, as he moves up to fight Canelo, he realizes he needs every bit of star power he can get.
He's still a pound-for-pound fighter.
Yeah. What do you think about that fight that happened? You thought it was just an off night, or?
Everybody has an off night. Everybody has an off night. I had a off night and Bruce. Everyone has a night. It's boxing.
The truth is, Tank versus Shakur isn't happening anytime soon. It's not just about pride, it's about business. Shakur is a talented fighter, but his style doesn't excite casual fans, and he's not a big draw. Tank has made it clear that if he's going to fight someone, it has to be worth it. And let's be honest, Shakur isn't bringing in massive pay-per-view numbers. On the other hand, a rematch with Ryan Garcia? That's money. If Tank is looking at his options, why would he settle for a fight with Shakur when he could cash in with a much bigger payday against Garcia?
Something with that knee, because if they don't, then all of us are going to think we could take a knee anytime we want. You know, they got to do something about it. I mean, they did something about me, you got to do something about other people. You know, rules are rules, right? It's, you know, I like Tank, though, personally, but a rule is a rule. You can't go and take a knee and then just expect not to be a knockdown. You know, you can't.
And let's not forget the bigger issue. Crawford and Tank don't even fight in the same division. Crawford is moving up to 168 for his fight, which is way beyond Tank's weight class. So why is he even talking about Tank? The truth is, many believe Crawford knows Tank is the real star. By mentioning Tank's name, he knows he's going to get attention. But it's a risky game. If Crawford keeps poking at Tank, it's only a matter of time before Tank fires back. And if we know anything about GervontaDavis, it's that he doesn't hold back.
They reverse the result of that fight as well.
It just depends. Like if that changes the whole fight, if that gives Roach the victory, give him the victory. That's how you keep the integrity of the sport, right? That's why they suspended me, right? To keep the integrity of the sport. So
Romero believes GervontaDavis will make the necessary adjustments to win the rematch against LamontRoach. Speaking to the ring, Romero explained that Roach shocked the boxing world with his performance and may have even surprised himself. However, Romero is convinced that Davis won't let that happen again. He pointed out that Davis is a 3-division world champion and one of the greatest fighters of this generation. In his opinion, the rematch must happen because the first fight left too many questions unanswered.
But just couldn't be D1. He's a D2 player. And I was showing love to Lamont and saying that he's a D2 player simply because he's not at the level that Tank is at.
But he's scoring the same amount of points at
But
the D2 level.
but when you put them on the court in a one-on-one, say again?
Why can't he be mid-major? Why he got to be D?
Some people aren't so sure that adjustments alone will be enough for Davis. There's a growing argument that Roach didn't just have a good night. He exposed flaws in Davis's game. Some observers feel that Davis's struggles weren't just about underestimating Roach, but rather a sign that he's not as dominant as many believed. Roach showed he could take Davis's power, walk him down, and force him into uncomfortable situations. If Davis's power wasn't enough to put Roach away the first time, why should it be any different in the rematch? Ryan Garcia, however, is fully backing Davis. Speaking to ES News, Garcia admitted that Davis likely thought the fight would be easier than it turned out. He believes Davis expected Roach to fold under pressure, and when that didn't happen, it threw him off. But Garcia expects a different version of Davis in the rematch, one that will be fully prepared for a tougher fight. In his view, Davis wins this time simply by taking Roach more seriously.
Up close and personal, whether he's in the ring with them or not, that matters. When you know a guy's rhythm, when you know their speed, when you know what they're thinking, that changes everything, you know? Saying all this to say that because I know we got a lot of people.
Garcia has his own history with Davis, and some fans believe his support for Davis is more personal than analytical. If Davis wins, it makes Garcia's loss to him look better. But if Roach pulls off another strong performance, it raises questions about how good Davis really is. That's why Garcia will be paying close attention, especially since a future rematch between him and Davis is still a possibility. However, Garcia is also focused on his own career. He's set to fight Rolando Romero at Times Square in May, and if he wins, a rematch with Devin Haney could be in the works, which might also lead to a Tank rematch.
I don't see it being, what'd you say, the rematch where he got knocked? Charlo against Harrison?
Yeah.
I don't see it being like that. I feel like Lamont Roach is going to start the pressure